So the choice is coming up. This is great. This is the most fucked up, crazy election ever. We have a choice between
an orangutan.
Yeah, we have a choice between a complete moron and a Republican Democrat who somehow gets liberal points for not having a dick. It's horrible. I mean, the Democrats are such losers. They have a complete chance to sneak someone in good. If there were real liberals in this country, or the Democratic Party had a real agenda, or really want to get something over, they would say, okay, look, we have this guy we can beat. We can get anyone in, a Dennis Kucinich, a Bernie Sanders, a real Democrat, and make something happen in this country. But instead, they're going to take this sort of free pass to whoop Trump, to sneak in another right-of-center Republican Democrat, good for nothing like Clinton, who...
Well, the one good thing about Hillary Clinton is if she is elected president, it'll be the first time two presidents have had sex.
As far as we know.
That's what I'm voting for.
Yeah, that's true.
As far as we know. Questions about Hoover and Coolidge.
What was Hoover?
Hoover was...
Which president? He was like...
Hoover was in the 20s.
Hoover
and Coolidge were in the... No, he was...
Preceded the Depression.
There was a time when you had to have matching initials for a while. So when Woodrow Wilson, Calvin Coolidge, Herbert Hoover, they changed that law by the time they got to the 30s.
Oh, but I remember. He was the one that dressed up like a... When did he dress up? Hoover?
They were all wearing wigs back then. Actually, it was before that. The Founding Fathers were probably a bunch of queers, too. They were wearing wigs and, blowing each other in Valley Forge. Does that sound like a gay club, Valley Forge? I mean...
It does now.
The Ramrod, the watering hole, Valley Forge. Good. Founding Fathers. I got your Founding Fathers. So, Clinton, so... What's the point? She will, like her husband before her, be campaigning for re-election from the first day, compromising, playing politics. I don't know. She probably smells like. I don't want to say what she smells like, but I think they agreed early in their marriage.
So you're not voting for Clinton, Craig?
I'm voting for Clinton. I'm voting for him. I'm not voting for Trump. I mean, unless you want to, if it was real hippie theory, it would be like, just let's make it worse before it gets better. Let's get Trump in. Really let the dominoes start falling, really be an international embarrassment, let things really fall apart. I mean, there's, it's got to get worse to get better. It's not exactly a revolution, but Trump would make things happen.
You're touching on something that I think, obviously...
I ain't touching him.
Or her. I mean, a lot of people have been thinking about, how did we get here, and how could we possibly have somebody like this as a presidential candidate for real? And I've come down to simplifying it to the fact that it's just a tantrum. It's a
national tantrum.
It's a national tantrum.
Craig, it's been going on since the Ayatollah took the hostages. This tantrum started in 1979.
The build-up to the tantrum started. The build-up to the tantrum. But the tantrum itself is unfolding now, where it's unconscious, and it's a whole bunch of people who are saying, fuck it. And fuck you.
Our dick is small. The boogers are going to get his tantrum started with the Ayatollah, it's not even gone downhill since.
It's a lot of people who are angry. They're not getting what they want. They're part of a tribe, and they're just saying, fuck it. I'm not getting what I want.
They're all orange.
Let's burn it to the ground.
The American experiment is like running up against the wall of failure. Like this whole idea that we have this country with all kinds of different people and diversity, and Hitler's idea of Lebensraum, give them enough room, they'll all make nice with each other. Instead, 80% of all people walk around hating 80% of everything about 80% about everyone else because of the diversity and different backgrounds, different languages, different ethnic groups. I mean, wouldn't it be fun for a while to be like in Norway or Israel where everyone looks like your cousin and doesn't fucking hate you? It gets old. I think it's getting old for the whole country.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I've never been there, but I've always been attracted to their, clocks and stuff.
I mean, I have been watching a TV show in Israel, kind of Israeli Friends or Girl Sex in the City, a bunch of religious Jews in Jerusalem who are approaching 30 and not married. And, it's funny, and they're all kind of nice to each other and understand each other and use the same slang. There isn't this kind of feeling here where every time you open your mouth, you're offending someone, pissing someone off, offering them the wrong bathroom door, degrading them because they were slaves or masters or masturbators or victims or friends of victims or whatever. It really gets old. And, people see that with Trump. Trump just wants to kind of beat his chest like a gorilla and say we want to be big and strong again, like before.
That's
we were
his real hair.
Emasculated by the Arabs.
Did you know it? It's his real hair.
It might be.
Is it?
I don't care. I don't care about that. And going back to Hillary, I think there's a collective, Trump is a collective tantrum, and with Hillary, there's a huge collective sigh, not relief.
That's all we get.
But a sigh of it's business as usual.
That's what we deserve. Another one of them, right?
It's that sigh that you see on social media that has the two asterisks on either side of it. We had a chance to do something else. And instead, whether it was that the Democratic Party machine has rigged everything from the beginning, or
well, they're saying that Trump is a rig. Trump is what's
that he's
helping.
a foil,
right?
Yeah,
for Clinton,
we can get into the Illuminati stuff that Trump's been put up there to
I knew
create
there was something deeper going on.
some massive some foil that's creating so much fear in people that some white rider is going to appear on the scene and pull the entire middle to them, and it could be from either side of things. And I don't know if that happens, I won't be terribly surprised, but I don't think that's what's happening.
Day by day, election by election, state by state, there are statistics that this country has gone in the stupid head toilet. I mean, people are voting for the guy. They really think this guy who threw together a few casinos and got bankrupt every few years and put up a pretty building with daddy's money is capable to lead this country because he talks big and he's going to chase out all the minorities, which would be nice if he started with the mother of my child. And well, I don't know how retroactive he's going to go on green card people, but that would be, he might get my vote that way.
No, he's nothing. That's the thing. I see a lot of stuff that Donald Trump is a racist. Donald Trump is a bigot. Donald Trump is a swindler. Donald Trump, he's a hypnotist. But he's really nothing. There's
he's
nobody.
He's a TV character.
There's nobody there. He's like. Did you ever see the Miyazaki animated film Spirited Away?
Yes. It made me see that.
You remember
yeah.
No Face?
Right.
Remember the character No Face is a Shinto spirit, but in the Buddhist lore, he would be a hungry ghost. There's nobody there. There's no
like
center.
my ex-wife.
A lot of my girlfriends
Donald
are like
Trump,
that. That's funny. I've had those too.
Donald Trump is not a racist. Donald Trump has learned how to lift himself on the hot gas emitted by racists to great heights, but he's not anything. He's not any. He doesn't. There's nothing there to care.
Well,
he doesn't have a passion of his own except appetite.
At that level, no one has anything. You have to be such a sociopath to get that far. I mean, nice guys finish last. And for anyone to get anywhere, Democrat, Republican, Independent, I don't care if you're Ralph Nader or Jesse Jackson or the fucking Dalai Lama.
I like Jesse
You got to crawl over a lot of heads and asses to get to the top of anything, It's just the way society is rigged, especially American society. There's got to be a trail of carnage and people you double cross and people you walk over and
fired.
people you get to the top. Yeah.
Well, what do you think? What do you think then about Bernie Sanders? Because I think that he's not a sociopath. I've been listening to him. I've called him my personal senator for 15 years, and I've been listening to him make speeches on the floor of the Senate.
I like his shoes.
All that time, and he's been saying the same things. And I don't see him. I'm sure he's a tough bastard when it comes to
he's a bad driver.
And he's scrappy, but I don't see him being a sociopath.
No, I
don't
see him as like latter-day Kucinich. I mean,
as
there's
a
always
liar or a double-crosser or somebody who changes his skin every time the next political fashion blows into town.
Well,
so,
someone chased him out of Brooklyn out into the woods of Vermont. You always wonder, there's always something, like all the guys in San Francisco who grew up in Cleveland, you find out, they kind of run out of town on a high rail or stuff like that. I can't tell you for sure. I agree with you that what Bernie Sanders says and does appears to be for real, appears to be coming from the right place, appears to be some sort of anomaly that 14,000 voters in a lily white state got a guy into the Senate who is not as bad as the rest. But I still think, for the most part, when you get to that level of the fame and politics stratosphere, there's something the matter with you.
Got dirty underwear.
I'm grateful to him because he made me a Tom, Dick, Harry, John finally, after a whole life of having my name butchered, misspelled, mispronounced, Barney, Benny, burned. Whatever it is. Now, finally, bitch, I get that anyway, but I go to Starbucks and my coffee cup comes with my name spelled correctly, said correctly. And for that, I'm grateful to Mr. Sanders for lifting my name from obscurity to to normality.
And
So
a lovely millennial woman smiling at you and saying, Bernie.
that's right.
Yes.
Some 14-year-old who would have called me
Bernie.
Barney or
Yeah.
Benny before him,
Right, yeah. Now she likes you automatically. Isn't that nice?
or at least doesn't butcher my name. Yeah, you might
Okay.
have a point, but a guy like that, I mean, he's still not going to get that far. I mean, you talk about the first black president, the first woman president. We're going to elect a Jew? I'm sorry, not yet. And there's a guy right in the middle. What about Mike Bloomfield? Like, there's a businessman Jew. There's your Trump and Sanders all rolled into
Bloomberg?
one. Bloomberg, is that his name? Yeah,
Bloomberg,
Bloomfield was a
yeah.
guitar player, right?
Yeah.
Mike Bloomfield was a
name.
guitar
Mike
player who
Bloomfield.
OD'd on heroin.
Yeah.
Mike
That's my
Bloomberg
accountant.
is a
Scheinfeld, Bloomfield.
Bloomberg is
yeah.
a Jew from New York who should be running the place. So I don't think this country's ready for a Jew. No one said anything yet.
Oh, I
but,
do.
Well, I'm ready. I mean, they say Roosevelt was Jewish. Supposedly it was really Rosenfeld.
I heard
But,
that. That's right.
Yeah. She was a
Rosenfeld.
dyke and he was a Jew. Those were
His
the
name was
days.
Saul. His first name.
Was it? Yeah.
Saul.
Well, so you said you're voting for Hillary, Bernie.
I'm voting for Hillary. Just
and
because,
I am
you
too.
vote for
And
somebody.
I have one reason,
I don't know
and I
if
might
I can
even be
spell
wrong,
Hillary.
but
You have
it's
to
the
spell
Supreme
it out.
Court. It's the Supreme Court.
Because the president's going to
That-
choose the next person, right?
That is the
Yeah.
gift that keeps on giving, and I have the experience of.
Don't
there
you feel
are two
like your
experiences.
vote's kind of held hostage to that, though?
Or that Hillary
Yeah.
owes someone a favor,
like
that
a-
it's going to be like someone
what are
Hillary
they gonna-
owes for way back
Yeah.
there.
What are they going to
for
do
keeping
next
her out
time?
And
of
again,
jail.
that's why I said I could be wrong, but I don't think she's going to choose somebody who is going to do the disastrous things that Roberts and Alito and
Mike Judge.
Yeah.
And
Mike
name's
Judge would be a
Judge.
great
I
judge. Wouldn't that be
know.
great?
Yeah.
That would be perfect.
Wouldn't
I mean,
it
the
be?
philosophies
Oh
of
my
him.
God, he wouldn't show up probably.
I
but-
mean, in the words of
Barack
Beavis
Obama
Invited,
has
what did
been voted.
Mike Judge teach us? Lying is cool. That would be great. I'd vote for him. Mike Judge for
I
judge.
love Judge. Yeah.
But I think but Hillary Clinton is business as usual, but I believe that her Supreme Court decisions, her Supreme Court appointments will be something reasonable. And I have so there are two
Yeah.
things that shape that are informing the decision I'm probably going to make, and one of them is the experience of my first election was Ronald Reagan in 1980, the first one in which I could
Well,
vote.
you're one younger than me. yeah.
And it was Ronald Reagan who appointed Anthony Kennedy. And Kennedy was the swing vote
Oh, yeah,
in
Kennedy.
the Citizens United
He was
versus
married
FEC.
to Jackie Kennedy. She was named after Jackie Robinson. It's weird how that goes.
See, history's all connected, John. You got it all sussed.
May I finish?
Go ahead.
Supreme Court decision, Citizens United, I think is the worst thing that's ever happened to this country. And I'm including...
Neil Young said the same. It's funny.
I'm including
Oh,
World
yeah.
War I, World War II. I'm including the Civil War in that. I'm taking into account September 11th, the flu epidemic in the
Ebola.
early
Now, if
1900s.
the Warriors lose tonight to the Cavs.
No,
that's gonna be
Citizens
worse.
United. Citizens
think-
United will
I
still
think-
be worse than that, and here's why.
I think the NBA's chosen the Warriors.
We
to
will
win
not
tonight.
survive.
I hope so.
We will not survive as a representative government with Citizens United.
If corporations are people, we're fucked
combined-
because they're big people.
combined with
Big shoes to fill.
Southern Pacific Railroad versus Santa Clara County in 1886. That was the one. People are mistaken. That was the
I remember
one.
that like it was yesterday. Remember that?
Yeah,
Southern- I remember that.
You know, we're all old guys, and so that was the one that made corporations people, and so that was really
oh,
important.
right,
People
yeah.
confuse that with Citizens United.
like
Citizens
Roe
United
versus
did not
Wade.
make corporations people.
Makes them people with rights, with a certain right.
Citizens United made speech a commodity and pegged it to the dollar. Therefore, it's quantifiable, and if you're rich, you have more speech.
Well, remind me
than
what's
a
going to
poor
happen.
piece-
Is there any
poor person.
chance the Republicans are still going to run everything, right? Even if Hillary wins, it's still going to be Republican Senate and Congress, right? Or is there a chance that
Maybe
it switches
there's the
over?
down
Is it
ballot-
close?
There's the down ballot effect.
Voting for Democrats?
If Trump is the nominee and enough people run from the Republican mess, then maybe the Senate will switch.
It's not going to say the same. All these
Unlikely
red
the
states
House.
say red and stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, because the state houses were sewed up in 2010, and they're the ones.
Sewn.
Thank you. Sewn up.
I sound like my ex-wife.
Well,
What was
do
I
look
saying?
like her?
No, but
There's a hyphen.
the gerrymandering that's happened since 2010 has made it almost impossible to switch a lot of those Republican state houses.
So it's going to be
And,
typical
and-
gridlock. She'll have to find some sort of compromise nominee just left of center because that's her right. And like
Right.
everything else, nothing will change. It'll be the same old shit. That's why maybe the step towards something better is Trump winning, and America becoming the laughing stock of the world even more so, and shit falling apart, and you know.
But I'll be in the ground, and the Supreme Court justices that are nominated in the next 4 years will still be either wrecking the lives of my daughter and her kids, or maybe making reasonable decisions.
That's true. That lasts a long time. That's a big deal.
Yeah,
when they
it
go
is
through
the
that.
gift that keeps on giving, and that is really about that's the most compelling thing that's going to get me to hold my nose and cast that vote.
Are you going to really hold your nose when you go in there?
I am. When I fill in that box,
I don't like her. I really don't like her.
when I
That's
fill
so
in that
sad.
box, I am, even if I'm alone and sitting at my kitchen table as I...
We've had that, John. You know, holding your nose while you're filling a box. I've had to do that. I'm not proud of it, but I've been there.
I'm probably going to say something
Been there, done that.
nasty. But I am going to fill in that box and send in that ballot.
I make my daughter vote for me. She's 11. I let her vote for Barack a couple times. I'm going to let her vote for Hillary. So, you know,
Yeah.
one day she can say she voted for the first Afro-American and the first dickless president in the Republic.
Oh, so she controls your vote.
No, I tell her who to vote for, but
Oh.
she comes into the little booth with me and actually
right.
punches the box.
Oh, she
so.
does. Oh, good for her.
But I also have something else to say about Hillary, and that is that the right-wing
You like her?
think tanks
Do you like
figured
her?
out, they figured out, I respect her. I do.
She was cute when she was young.
She was
It has
not.
nothing
She
to
was
do
not.
with that. It has nothing to do
Shinless
with that.
whore, no way. Yeah.
Really? Shinless.
Yeah, no, she's not
Go
pretty.
ahead.
I think she's a gladiator in a gladiator sport, and I wish that we weren't in a
That's
gladiator
what they
sport
call
anymore.
a man with hair between his teeth.
What, a gladiator?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, glad. That's
Yeah.
funny. Yeah, you know, she picked Clinton to ride his ass to the top, too. Bill Clinton. That wasn't love. That was like, you know, do I marry the gas station attendant and control him, or do I marry a guy who'll get me out of Arkansas or whatever? She knew what she was doing all along.
I do think that she's been reaching for this since she was in her early 30s.
Yep.
And she's
Both of them. They were like
probably-
most likely to succeed at their
probably
school.
going to get it.
Yeah.
But I do think that
Really? You think it goes that
Breitbart-
far back? You don't think during his presidency she figured out, this is fucking crazy. I'm smarter than him, and he's calling the shots. I don't think she got the ambition.
You don't think she was? I think she was
remember,
ambitious.
she didn't even become a
from-
representative till late in his second
That's
term.
true.
I think she was fine just being like, you know, a lawyer and kind of behind the scenes and the first lady and all that. And then when she got up close and said, these clowns running it aren't half as smart
I
as
could
me.
do better. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe you're right.
I don't think she was. I don't think she had. I don't think when she was young and pretty, she thought she had a chance of being president or anything like that. I mean,
No.
who was it back then? Who was like Gerardine Ferraro or whatever? There was a vice presidential candidate way back
What
when.
was Geraldine, and then
She was Mondale's running
Schlafly.
mate.
It was Mondale.
Yeah.
Schlafly, and then there was the
No. And then Feinstein talked
Chisholm.
about it for a second.
Shirley Chisholm.
Yeah, but she was a Kucinich. You know, she got 1% of the vote. No one
Right.
took her seriously.
But I think that this
like
this
her
needs to
name.
be pointed out.
Chisholm.
The anti-Hillary
Rush with Chisholm,
Reminds me
yeah.
of some of the-
Hillary has become on the left. Those of us who live left of center, she's become our Emmanuel Goldstein, and I think that is wrong.
She's not Jewish.
The right wing think tanks at Crossroads and Breitbart figured out a year ago that they had nothing. They had absolutely nothing, and they were going to lose. And they said our one shot is to
Chisholm.
dig up and create everything
Chisholm.
the worst possible anti-Hillary propaganda and
or like her
and
butchered
plant
emails or
it-
something.
no and make shit up and dig up
Benghazi.
and and then
Benghazi.
but paint her as
That'd be a fun place
as,
to go on
as
vacation.
actually the right of center war hawk, warmonger, and then plant that stuff daily on the left wing blog sites.
I mean, what if they do dig something up on her before then? What if there's some surprise they're still
Breitbart-
sitting on
Yeah.
and
Breitbart
Trump
has
wins?
been doing that, and the left, and I've got friends
There's
on
gotta be
Facebook
something.
who disseminate, who are getting stuff.
That sounds
they
dirty.
don't know it.
Disseminating
Yeah,
friends.
well, it is dirty. So they're getting stuff from Breitbart, and they don't know that they're getting it that the source is Breitbart. And these are people who are left of me, and they're disseminating anti-Hillary propaganda all over the place and creating this anti-Hillary fury. And a lot of what's said about Hillary is true. A lot of it is exaggerated, and some of it is absolutely bullshit. It's
It doesn't matter. Once it
and
gets
doesn't
around, it gets
matter.
around. It doesn't have to be true, you know?
And
Right.
I see more
That's the new
anti-Hillary
world.
propaganda being circulated by my left-wing friends than I do by the right. And that was by design. And I think that we have to be careful that that our own impressions of this person are not. She's been demonized to an extraordinary degree, and I also take that into account. And I think it's pride to think that propaganda doesn't work on us. It works on
She
everybody.
can probably match
Yeah,
the
you're
language to
right.
the country in Europe. Like if her and Trump were doing, Quiz Up or one of these games, trivia games where you have to match countries to languages and borders. So at least she has a clue. This guy
Yeah.
Trump, oh my God,
No,
very
she
scary.
could be on Jeopardy. Trump, could you imagine Trump on Jeopardy?
Yeah.
Well, he just changed the
Could
subject.
he work the button? I don't
Yeah.
know.
He'd change the subject, but he would do it so persistently that even Alex Trebek would start talking about something else and let him go. I've watched him do it. He just doesn't answer, and he says,
Yeah.
hey, this is a nice room, or wow, you guys are all wearing beautiful ties, or some nonsense, and it's hypnotism. It's hypnotism.